Good evening everyone. So coming back to the chapter number 2, that is designing of components, we are going to learn something more about the embedded memories, which we have seen in the last lectures, that the number of different types of memories which are included in embedded systems. So likewise we are going to see something more about the designing of components in which the different kinds of memories can be used to design the one particular application. So depending upon the instructions whatever you are going to use, likewise the embedded systems or the memories are been designed. So getting toward the next, we are going to see the dynamic random access memory, that is the DRAM. In the last chapter or in the last session we have seen the SRAM, details about the SRAM and DRAM. Now we are going to learn something about the DRAM. Now SRAM and DRAM are the two classifications of the RAM memory. As we know, RAM memory, RAM is nothing but the random access memory, in which SRAM is static random access memory. And now we are going to see something about the dynamic, that is dynamic random access memory. The dynamic random access memory is nothing but a memory. It is a type of which the RAM module is going to store each bit of data with a separate capacitor. So as we know, the SRAM or DRAM are nothing but designed with some kinds of MOSFETs or BJTs, right? So with respect to that, whatever kinds of design we are going to prepare, some kinds of capacitors are being used. And each of the capacitor, whatever you are going to design, it is with designed with each bit. Each capacitor is going to hold that each bit of data. So this is the sufficient way that it is going to store the data in the memory, because it requires less physical space to store the data. So this is the way in which maximum data can be stored with respect to that of static random access memory. So moving towards next, we are going to see, this is the diagram for the DRAM, that is the random access memory, for the dynamic random access memory. So the particular size of this random access memory can hold more amount of data than that of the SRAM chip, as I told you earlier. As the SRAM chip is holding the small amount of data because it is having the small chip, but the size is same, but it is going to hold the less amount of data with respect to that of the random access memory of dynamic. So the capacitors which are used in this DRAM needs to constantly charge to keep it working. So as we know, each capacitor is going to hold each bit of data, means that capacitor has to charge every time, continuously rather, to keep them constantly recharged, to keep their charge. Means the capacitor, to keep the charging of the capacitor, that particular capacitor has to be continuously charged, and this is the reason why DRAM, that is the dynamic random access memory, requires the more power supply. With respect to this, each DRAM memory chip consists of the storage locations or the memory cells. So whatever the chips you are using, each chip is consisting of its own storage location, or you can say is as a memory cells. So it is made up of the capacitors or the transistors, which can hold either the active or inactive states. So it is made up of, so that particular DRAM chip, whatever we are using, it has been made up of the capacitors and the transistors, either it can hold their active or inactive states. So each DRAM cell is referred to as a bit, that is 1 bit, 2 bit, whatever it is. So when the DRAM cell is going to hold the value as 1, it may be said as it is an active, or it is maybe call it as an charge, or it is said as a high state notification is given. But when the DRAM holds the value 0, it is going to say that it is an inactive and the charge is below the certain level. For example, whenever you are going to use the mobile, is it not? And whenever you are going to charge that mobile, every time it is showing the percentage in it. So when the mobile is below the certain level, if it is 1, 2 or 3 battery level it is showing, that means what we are going to predict, that it is the battery is charging. Below the certain level, you may state it as 0. Similarly here also, the DRAM, whenever it is going to hold the inactive state, that is in a 0 level, that means up to the certain limit the value is been degraded up to the certain level. So it is called that as a zero state, or it is called as an inactive state. So the next we are going to see is the advantages of DRAM. So the storage capacity is very high, as we have seen earlier. The DRAM is going to have a very high storage capacity, is very high, and obviously the cost is low of this device as compared to the SRAM. The applications for this DRAM is, it is used to store the large block of data. It is used in executing the microprocessor coding. Whenever you are going to use the microprocessors and whenever you are going to use for the execution of that purpose, the DRAM memories are used. And some applications where the low latency memory is required, that time the DRAM access or the DRAM memory is being used. So next we are going, so whatever this, till this DRAM we were learning something about the memories or the something about the RAM, that is the static RAM and dynamic RAM. Now we are going to learn something about the ROM, that is read only memory. Now there are basically, for this particular types of ROM memories, there are three types of ROM memories. First one is the programmable read only memory, second one is the erasable programmable read only memory, and the third one is the electrical erasable programmable read only memory. So let us see in detail about one by one memories of ROM. So first one we are going to see is the programmable read only memory. So the programmable read only memory can be modified once by the user. As we know, the programmable read only memory is what, once the data is been written into it, we can just read the memory, read the data second time. We cannot read and write it every time. So that is nothing but called as programmable read only memory, so that it can be modified only once by the user. So this PROM memories is manufactured with a series of fuses. So this chip is programmed by the PROM programmer, wherein some fuses are burnt. This chip can be programmed again, that is means suppose you have written some program into it, and suppose the fuse has been burnt. So once to replace that fuse, you can rewrite the program again into it. So this is one chip for the PROM. So the open fuses are read only once, while the burnt fuses are read as zeros. So once the data is been read into it, what we can say, the open fuses are read as once, means whenever the data is been readable, that time you can see it as that state has been one state, and while the burnt fuses, which is not going to work, that means it is showing something value different or zero values, that time you can read that burnt fuses as zero values. So here you can see, this is the figure for the programmable read only memory. This is the chip where you can store the data for only once in the PROM. Okay. Secondly, we are going to see the erasable programmable read only memory. Now you can see the difference between PROM and erasable programmable. So this is the chip where the PROM memory can be used. So that erasable programmable read only memory is the one special type of memory modules that can be programmed any number of times to correct the errors. What was the difference between the PROM memory? PROM memory is where only once the data can be written into it, and second time it cannot be modified. But the second time, that is the erasable programmable memory, is that if suppose some kind of error is been occurred into your program, you can rewrite any number of times, and n number of times you can correct the data into this erasable programmable memory. But that is not the case you can find it in PROM. So it can retain its content until the exposed to ultraviolet light. So this ultraviolet light, now as it is named, the name itself is given as erasable programmable. Now, erasable means this erasable, the data can be erased, once written data can be erased with the help of the ultraviolet light. So the ultraviolet light is the erases its content and making it possible to the program the memory again and again. So to write and erase the EEPROM memory chip, we need some special devices called as P programmable, that is PROM programmer. So the EPROM is programmed by forcing the electrical charge on a small piece of polysilicon metal known as the floating gate, which is located in the memory cell. So this memory cell, now as we say that we can rewrite the instructions number of times, so how it can be erased, that is done by the electrically charged. Forcefully we are going to what you can say, we are going to charge the electrical for small pieces of polysilicon metal on the floating gate, where the data can be erased and which is located into the memory cell. So when the charge is present in this gate, the cell is programmed. That means the memory content is 0. And when the charge is not present in the gate, that time the cell is not programmed, and that time you may say that the memory content is 1. So it is basically what the thing is, every time we say that 0 means 0 content, there is no program, right? But it is reverse in the case of EPROM. So where it is, when the program is contained, when there is some charge into that program, you may see it as the memory content is 0, and when there is no charge present into that cell, when the program is not, then the cell is not programmed or it is not charged, that time you may say it as the memory content is 1. So moving towards the next, that is the third type of electrical erasable program memory, that is the read-only memory. Now in this EPROM, that is double EPROM, is user modified read-only memory chip that can be erased and programmed for the number of times. So this is also in this PROM memory also, or in the double EPROM memory, you can read and write number of times. So these memory devices are used in computer. Basically double EPROM memory is used in computers. Now suppose whenever you are going to use the computer, that time what you can do, a number of times the program is installed, number of times it is uninstalled, right? So similarly this is nothing but the memories whatever you are going to use in the computer is double EPROM, that is number of times the instructions or the applications whatever you need to use, you can use it, and once it is not, you can uninstall it. So these memory devices are used in computers and other electronic devices as well to store the small amount of data that must have been saved when the power supply is removed. Now basically when we have seen the SRAM, or whenever you have seen something about the DRAM or only about the RAM, it is consisting of the RAM, that is the volatile memory, and non-volatile memory. So where the continuously the power supply is required for the volatile memory, and sometimes it is not required for the non-volatile memory. In some cases where the power supply is not required, that time this double EPROM memory can be used, and the content whatever you have been going to write into this EPROM memory is erased and exposing it to the electrical charge. So here again you can see the figure for the EPROM. So this EPROM data is stored and removed 1 byte of a data at a time. Now whenever we are saying that is it is erasable and reprogram it again, so that time whenever you need to erase that data, you want to remove that data, particularly at that time 1 byte of data can be removed at a one time. So the EPROM does not need to be removed from the computer to be modified. Every time there is no need to remove the chip and to install and to erase likewise. So the data can be removed by byte. So the changing the content does not require any additional equipment. Now whenever you are going to uninstall or whenever you are going to remove the data, there is no any extra equipment required for this double EPROM memory. So the modern double EPROM memory nowadays, what it has been manufactured, allows the multi-byte page operation and has a limited life. So earlier the EPROMs were just like they used to do some specific tasks for removing and writing for the instructions. But nowadays the EPROM which has to be used are multi-byte pages, can be used for many number of times and has the and can be used for the lifelong period can as well. So that EPROM memory can be designed 10 times or 1000 times to write the cycles. So when the number of writing operation is completed, the EPROM stops working. So after 1000 writing cycles, if the number of times you're going to complete the writing cycles, the EEPROM memory is going to stop working. So this EEPROM is storage device that can be implemented with few standards in the cell designs. There is a common cell is composed two transistors. Again, this EEPROM can be used two transistors for as a common cell. So the storage transistors has a floating gauge similar to EEPROM. As we have seen EEPROM, similarly this double EEPROM is going to work with the help of the transistors for the floating gauges. So the EEPROM has two families which are serial double EEPROM and parallel double EEPROM. The parallel double EEPROM is faster and the cost is effective when compared to that of the serial double EEPROM memory. Now these were the three types which we have seen for the ROM memory with respect to that of RAM. We have seen RAM two types, that is the static memory and dynamic memory. ROM three types, that is programmable, EROM and double EEPROM memory. Now we are going to see something about the next, that is the flash memory. Now this flash memory is different than these kinds of memories which we have seen earlier. The flash memory is the most widely used device for the electronics and computer devices. This flash memory is among the special types of memory that can be erased and programmed with block of data. In double EEPROM memory we have seen that the data can be written and erased byte, that is one byte of data can be removed at the time. But in this flash memory, it is a special type of memory where the blocks of data can be erased and can be programmed again. So the flash memory keeps its data even with no power at all. So this flash of memory, now every time there is no power supply required for this flash memories, and even though without power supply the data can be activated all the time. So the flash memory is popular because it works faster, efficiently with as compared to that of double EEPROM memory. Now here you can see the diagram for the flash memories which is designed by the Samsung. So Samsung designed this flash memory where it is faster than that of the double EEPROM memory. So this flash module memory is designed for about, you can see how many times, what was the EEPROM memory? In double EEPROM memory the writing cycles was for 10 to 1000 times, but in this flash memory it is 10 times, 20 times faster as compared to that of the EEPROM memory. For the writing cycles are more faster than as compared to double EEPROM. But the main constraint with this flash memory is the number of times the data can be written into it, and the data can be read from the flash memory as many times as desired. But after a certain number of write operation, it will stop working. As similarly to that of double EEPROM memory, after 1000 times of cycle writing completion, it will stop working. Similarly here also, after certain limit, this flash memory is again going to stop working. And the next we are going to see is the on-chip memory. Now we have seen flash memory, now we are going to see something about the on-chip memory. Now this on-chip memory is to refer any memory module like ROM, RAM or any other memories, but that physically exists on the microcontroller itself. Now this EEPROM memory and this kinds of memory can be used or cannot be used into that microcontrollers. But especially for the embedded design purpose, we are using some sorts of memories or some sorts of controllers, that is microprocessors or controllers or PLDs or any kind of controllers, whatever you are using for some kinds of application for the embedded system. So similarly, this on-chip memory is referred with the module like where ROM and RAM itself is contained onto this on-chip, and this on-chip memory is already existed on the microcontroller chip itself, which is consisting its own memory. So this different microcontroller types like 8051 microcontroller has the limited on-chip ROM memory. This microcontroller is having some memory in itself which is consisting of ROM and has the limited ROM access. However, it has the capability of expanding to the maximum of 64 of external ROM memory and 64 KB of the external RAM memory. Obviously, wherever you are going to use some kinds of mobiles, now you are using mobile, right? So there also you can see that is the 6K RAM is available, 6 or 8K RAM is available into nowadays, or you are using 266, 256 internal memory is available, 128 GB internal memory is available. So what these kinds of memories are, that is nothing but an access to that. Even you can expand that 256 GB or 128 GB or 64 GB with some SD cards into it, is it not? So similarly, this microcontrollers are also having on-chip memory into it, and if suppose it need to be expandable, for example, some types of applications are needed where the instructions are too long according to the application, and there is need to be added some external memory. So this facility is available for the microcontroller. Apart from its own memory, external memory can also be used for this. For 64 GB external ROM can be used, and 64 GB external RAM can be utilized for this 8051 microcontrollers. So here you can see, this is the diagram for this on-chip memory. This is the diagram for the on-chip memory. Now here you can see this 8051 microcontroller is consisting of the internal RAM, that is 64, as we have seen, it's 64 RAM. SFRs, that is special function registers, are being used for the utilization purpose, and again the internal ROMs is being used. But apart from this, if you need some extra external RAM or external ROM, then there is a function that is needed. This internal RAM and internal ROM are the on-chip memory available into the 8051 already. But the next that is the external RAM or external ROM can also be utilized for this on-chip memory. So the EA pin, that is the enable pin, is used to control the external and internal memories for the microcontrollers. This microcontroller cannot be enabled itself. There is one pin, that is enable pin, is used to control the external and internal memories of microcontroller. And this microcontroller is required 5-volt supply, as we have seen earlier. So if the enable pin is connected to the 5-volt supply, then this data can be fetched to or from the internal memory of the microcontroller. And when the enable pin is connected to the ground, the data is fetched from the external memories. Now suppose when the enable pin is connected to 5-volt supply, that time wherever the enable pin is connected to 5-volt supply, then the internal memory itself is accessed from this 8051. But suppose you want to connect the external memory as well, that time that enable pin has to be connected to the ground, so that the data can be fetched from the external RAM or external ROM. So far we have seen something about the different kinds of memories into that, as directly from the RAM, ROM, flash memory or on-chip memory. So these are the different kinds of memories we have utilized so far, or we can utilize so far for the embedded system purpose, for storing some kinds of programs into it. Okay, so next we are going to see the next point for this chapter is the applications for the embedded systems, and then we are going to end with the second chapter. So thank you.